schools, be it mosques, be it homes, be it pakka ghars, whatever it is. If I have, you can't break this, but the land doesn't belong to you. No, but you can't break this. And if you're going to break this, settle me somewhere else at your cost. That's the argument that's being made. Now, is that a sane argument? Or do you then have to look at the numbers and look at humanity saying 4,000 families are there, nearly 50,000 people are involved, so let's resettle them. Then does this not then pave the way for justifying illegal encroachments as long as you got numbers? So I won't go as an individual into somebody's house, we'll go with 10 people and occupy that place and then claim ownership or say resettle me. Let's look at this. 10 mosques, 12 madrasas and 1 temple have been built on the land. That's the information that comes in. 3 government and 11 accredited private schools have also been built. How are these built is also another question, ladies and gentlemen. What is a court order? The courts, this has been doing the rounds in the court since 2013. It's gone to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court then advised the Uttarakhand High Court to listen to all parties. Then it is a division bench that's come with the judgment. What have they said? 1 week notice to the occupants, asking them to vacate this land. Because on record, out of 4,365 families, 4,356 have been notified. They've been checked. They don't have valid land records, ladies and gentlemen. Intimate by paper, publication and beat the drums in the area. And act and take forceful possession if the occupants fail to vacate the premises. Then, unauthorized structures to be removed after the expiry of 1 week. Cost of removing unauthorized occupants to be recovered from them. State expected to deploy full police force to meet any contingency. Railway administration to initiate proceedings against erring persons. This is what the courts have come out and very clearly said after listening to every post, every party in and every argument. Now the argument is, nahi, hamare lawyers thode weak the. They were not very good. Supreme Court mein jayenge and they will argue there very, very strongly. Till then we will occupy. Till then we will create. And then what's happening? Political parties, NGOs, everybody trying to make a beeline. And then it's government land or railway land that's been encroached. Not even government land. This is railway land. This doesn't belong to the government. This belongs to railways. Railway land encroached. But why politicize a court order? It's a legal fight. Let it be a legal fight. Why politicize it and why say that the court decision is influenced by one political party? So if the ruling is not in your favor, you can say whatever you want and get away with it. Sunita Vidyarthi of the BJP is with us. Ishkaran Bhandari, lawyer, is with us. Sumit Hridayesh, Congress MLA Haldwani, is also with us. Sumit ji, my first question to you is, the petitioners have a point where they come out and say, हम कहाँ जाएंगे? हम लोग इतने साल से यहाँ रह रहे हैं, हम कहाँ जाएंगे? It's a humanitarian cause. But if this is allowed, does this also not justify illegal and forced occupation? Anybody can squat in anybody's land and say after a year or two कि this belongs to me. अगर मेरे को यहाँ से हटा रहे हो तो मेरे को कहीं और ला के तुम जगह दो.
Now I was listening to you very carefully as you were your opening remarks, and the thing that you have to understand is I've been on news channels all day today, and people who don't know what kind of demography or what kind of land reality is there in my state of Uttarakhand. I'd like to re-say all those things. That almost all the big municipal corporations of Uttarakhand, be it Dehradun, Rudki, Haridwar, Rudrapur, Haldwani, 70% of the land there is Nazul, where people are residing. That's government land, right? And the so-called railway land, the railway in its original affidavit submitted before the Honorable High Court way back, I'm talking about 2007, submitted that it has 29 acres.
Correct.
Now suddenly they draw a line across a piece of paper, and I heard you saying about tax paying. These people have been paying their taxes duly and diligently all throughout these years. They've been paying their house taxes, they've been paying their sewerage taxes, they've been paying their water bills, electricity bills. And the state governments have built schools there, community centers there. So are you trying to tell me that the state governments, in fact, were encroaching upon railway land. The railway has never directly approached the Honorable High Court or any agency saying that this is their land. This was all in addressal to various PILs, where the railway has staked its claim first on 29 acres. Now they suddenly shifted to 78 acres. What we are saying is 2/3 of that land is revenue land, Nazul land, plus where people actually have freeholds in registries. People have bought enemy property through auctions conducted by the government of India, such and such. And this mountain of evidence shall be presented before the Supreme Court.
So, what happened in the Uttarakhand High Court? Was this mountain of evidence, let me ask you, Sumit ji, was this mountain of evidence not presented before the division bench of the Uttarakhand High Court?
No, it was. No, it was duly presented before the High Court, and our lawyers were, they worked very hard out there. But my question and the trouble with the whole situation is that the state government did not step up and stake its claim to its own revenue land. Now, in one phrase or one function or one area, the state government tends to loot lots of applaud that we are doing a division of property with UP. And our CM Pushkar Singh Dhami ji, he everywhere he goes, he wants accolades.
So are you trying to say that there is no railway land involved? Are you trying to say that each and every family present each and every family present there has land ownership records? Because what I have seen and what our research team has found out is that out of 4,365 families, 4,356 families don't have valid land record.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. 70% of all municipal corporations of Uttarakhand, the big towns, to put it in plain terms, be it Dehradun, be it Roorkee, be it Haridwar, be it Rudrapur, or be it Haldwani. 70% of people residing are residing on Nazul land. They're poor people. They don't have money to get their registries done, get their freeholds done.
Please.
So they have been dwelling like that.
See, please. See, there is a difference, Sumitji. See, I understand. There's a difference between what land belongs to the state and what belongs to railways or what belongs to the armed forces. If this
exactly,
is land,
that's my point. That's my point. That's my next point.
I am purely talking about the land that belongs to the railways that cannot be forcibly occupied. What land belongs to the state, and if there has. Yeah, if there has been, now the railways is claiming 78 acres, earlier in 2005, 2007 they said 29 acres, but what I am also trying to tell you is that from 2007 to 2022, look at the population rise which has happened there. If it was 4,000, 5,000 people at that time, it's gone up to 50,000 people. So did these people not know that this land does not belong to them, and they are actually squatting on land which does not belong to them? Now, let me just open this up. Ishkaran Bhandari, how would you see this? As a legal point of view, and there is a humanitarian point of view, and there is now a huge amount of politicization that's happening. There is a clear appeasement and vote bank game that's being played, where one party is being shown as the villain, the others are seen as sympathizers. There are NGOs that have moved in, opportunists who have come in. There is also street squatting. But I'm sticking to the legal point of view. All these aspects of land records, all these aspects of evidences were placed before the Uttarakhand High Court.
So typical of you.
No, but it's happening, sir. Congress is making a beeline, Samajwadi Party is making a beeline. There is no need to politicize it. You have moved the Supreme Court, let the court hear it. Why do you need to play the kind of political aspect?
We are going to the Supreme Court.
So that's what I'm saying. There are two aspects. One is the legal aspect, one is the political aspect. Politicization is happening.
But the state government has responsibilities.
So let's not deny it.
Sumit ji, I am
stating facts.
The center has responsibilities.
Politicization हुआ है ना? Politicization. रेलवेज की जमीन है सर. रेलवेज की जमीन पे आप कैसे बैठ के क्लेम? ओके, इश्करण भंडारी बोला.
अरे रेलवे की जमीन आपने अभी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोल दिया. रेलवे की जमीन
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने नहीं बोला ना, उत्तराखंड हाईकोर्ट ने बोल दिया ना, डिवीजन बेंच ने बोला ना, रेलवेज की जमीन ही बोला ना. जजमेंट में मैं जजमेंट ही पढ़ रहा हूँ सर. There is a legal argument, there is a political argument. I am looking at both aspects. Let Ishkaran speak. Yes, Ishkaran ji.
Thank you. Anand, let's come to politics a little later. Let's deal with the law. Let me say a very ordinary statement which in India has become controversial. Railway platforms, public parks, lands of PSU, army, riverbeds are all the property of the nation or the PSU, and you cannot have illegal squatters or illegal occupation on them. Paying electricity bill or paying house tax does not give you the right to the land. That is a settled law. Now let us come to what has happened here, and because politicization is being done here, there was a due hearing before the Honorable High Court. People moved for interim relief also, that the structures not be demolished. The High Court considered all of it. The High Court did not give interim relief.
2016 it went to the Supreme Court also. They came to the Supreme Court in the past.
It has had a round in the Supreme Court, and the High Court passed an order, because if it does not pass the order, tomorrow right outside your TV studio, if somebody squats on land on a road and says, no, I have a right here because there are 100 people sitting here, then what happens? Where does the rule of law go? And now I will just speak one line on politics, because it is being made into a minority-majority issue. Faridabad, Aravali Hills, this is 4,500 structures, 10,000 structures. BJP government in power, and overwhelmingly a Hindu area of occupation. Supreme Court said nothing doing. All illegal constructions have to be demolished. Nobody said Hindu Muslim then. So what is okay in Haryana, in Aralia Hills, Khawri village, where 10,000 illegal structures and maybe 1.5 lakh people affected, was done on the same principle, but because it's one particular religion in this area, you want to have different laws. Why don't they talk about Haryana, which was BJP government? It had to do. The governments may not want to do it because of vote bank politics, but the courts have taken a very clear view that if we don't stop it, then nothing will remain. No public park, no river bed, no PSU land, nothing will be left, because the politicians are very happy.
There is one aspect.
One last point. All those politicians or government officers, because it did not come up overnight, who allowed it to happen, should be prosecuted under criminal laws. Only then this will stop in future.
Totally agree that. That was my other point. If there are municipal corporations who have allowed or ratified and allowed these settlements, if there are governments which have built government schools there to try and give legitimacy to this, all those people need to be pulled up. Because they have created a humanitarian crisis.
May I interject?
They have created a humanitarian crisis.
May I interject?
Yes, Sumitji, and then I'll bring in Sunita Vidyarthi. She's not yet spoken. So please.
May I interject?
Yes.
May I interject momentarily?
Yes, Sumitji.
Like, see, I understand where you are coming from. But when I keep telling you what the land reality of Uttarakhand is, these people who basically are poor people, and this area Banbulpura, and the Congress hasn't toed the line of any communal divide or communal issue. We still believe, I am repeating this on national TV, I repeat, and I believe in the due process of law. I do believe that the Supreme Court will hear us fairly, and I do believe the people will get relief. And I do still believe that these people have rights that people are not really showing. Railway is claiming this land, but it's not the railway land. It will be proved by the due process of law.
My
we are waiting for that. We are working towards that.
What I'm trying to tell you, Sumitji, is, and I'm telling our viewers, that by the due process of law, over the process of nearly from 2013 to 2022, nearly about a decade, with redressals in Supreme Court also sought, the railways and the petitioners have been able to show the land records and who this land belongs to. The judgment has come from a two-judge bench of the division bench of the Uttarakhand High Court. That cannot be forgotten. The Supreme Court may say or do whatever they are, but my simple question... No, 1 minute, Sumitji. Let me just go to Sunita ji now. My simple question...
Supreme authority of law.
1 minute. You cannot discount the judgment of a division bench of an Uttarakhand High Court because it is not convenient to you. My point is... No, sir, 1 minute. Let me just go to... Let me just...
I'm looking for the anomalies.
Legal anomalies. Sumitji, I have come to you. Let Sunita ji speak. She is not yet spoken. Sunita ji, मेरा प्रश्न आपसे ये है, ये कहा जा रहा है कि ये बीजेपी की मिली भगत, the open brazen allegation on ground politicizing is कि कोर्ट में जो हुआ है वो बीजेपी की मिली भगत है. That's what has come. They have also said ये बीजेपी की साजिश है क्योंकि वो नहीं चाहते कि हम यहां पर रहें. This is the language that's being spoken by the protesters on ground. Although the Congress spokesperson and one of the petitioners on the show is saying कि इसमें कोई communal politics नहीं है. What's the story? What's the BJP's position? अभी तक तो आप चुप्पी साधे हैं, आप यानी कि उत्तराखंड सरकार. जी.
See, Anand, I'm very surprised to see how the Congress party and people doing drama here, because when they have to take any initiative, they didn't took any step for these people. They are only making chapatis in politics. I am here to these Congress people who are sitting on dharna against the government. This problem is due to them. This Congress had allowed encroachment on railway land, and the railway board wants their land. BJP party not involved in this matter. So this encroachment started when Uttarakhand ended up with one state in 1974. Indira Hridesh of Legislative Council was formed. Even before that time, this case is open. 3 times Indira is elected as a MLA, but she never did anything for the problem of these people. Now Indira's son Sumit Ji, Vidhayak, is also for the constituency. In 1212, Indira Hridesh Ji became MLA and Finance Minister, PWD Minister, but she didn't took any step for them. So I'm very surprised these all drama. And by the way, Sumit ji, our government will do also something for these people, but it can't leave like you.
Yeah, we
these
can see what they're
people.
doing, ma'am.
But I would like to say, that this problem have been going on since the time of Congress government. Also, why did Congress not provide land to the people, to these people?
Why? So the allegation is you are the sitting MLA of Haldwani and there is a family legacy.
No, why
May I
did
reply?
Congress
May I
The
reply?
BJP spokesperson has said that
May I reply?
your family member Indira Ji in the past and you
Can I
have
reply?
allowed this open encroachment which has happened on railway land and you have not resettled them in the
How?
past when it was
Excuse
your
me,
government.
it
So
is-
that's what the BJP is saying. Okay, let her come.
false allegation.
Give her another 30 seconds and then Sumit ji respond.
There are
Sumit ji, give her another 30 seconds then
More
respond.
than 200 years old. I'm just explaining.
Ji.
In 1850, there was a treaty of Singoli between Nepal and the East India Company. This problem is the result of that treaty. Mr. Tray laid the foundation of Haldwani Khas in 1834. Pakka houses have been built by people. Encroachment on railway land. People have committed a big mistake. But now if the decision of the High Court has come, then they will have to accept it. There is a hearing in the Supreme Court on January 5th.
But the point is,
So, I'm just
Sunita ji,
asking Mr.
but the point
Sumit-
is, Sunita ji, if it is 1 or 2 families, then the number is not such a big one. Now it is 50,000 people. There are children, there are women involved. And of course, the
Yes,
dynamic
yes.
comes. Now what is going to happen? Responsibility is going to come on somebody to
BJP
resettle them
government
because ye log
definitely
kahenge,
will do
where will we go?
something for
That's what
them.
they're going to tell the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has to uphold right to life as much as they have to uphold right to property. Ishkaran Bhandari, quick comment and then Sumit ji, final word. Yeah.
Anand, when you talk about human rights, that is why I gave.
Can I please?
Anand, just 1 second on human rights. Anand, when you talked about human rights, that's why I gave the example of Faridabad and Aralia. UN human rights body had said 1 lakh people are affected, 10,000 structures are affected. They were also rich people there with farmhouses and marriage halls. They said nothing doing. It has to be demolished if it's on public land. So let us be very clear. It will lead to a human rights crisis if we don't do it, because these sort of things will then mushroom all over the country, ably abetted by politicians as well as the municipal authorities.
So then the simple point is that if the Supreme Court hears this matter, then the politicians, the municipal corporations, the people who allowed these illegal encroachments should all be held criminally culpable, and they must be
Absolutely.
asked to contribute to at least 30 acres of land anywhere else which they should purchase so that these people can go and live on those land. And I'm sure there are many of these netas and many of these people who can afford 30 acres of land. Let them buy that land and resettle these people. Why should the state and the taxpayer take the cost?
May I-
Why should the land that belongs to railways and the state have to
May I-
bear this cost? Yes, Sumit ji, final word.
May I interject? May I interject?
Yes.
Yeah, the honorable spokesperson from the BJP has accused me and my mother. May I give her a little light that you can ask most netas from Uttarakhand BJP, former chief ministers, former MLAs, present MLAs, and when you mention her name, they will say one thing. Her name meant a lot to them because she did a lot for the state and she did a lot for development. We have never looked at vote bank politics. If you look at the voting analysis from 2002 till 2022, you will realize every section of society has voted for us. We haven't looked for minority votes or majority votes as our winning formula.
But the point
it's our due diligence,
It's-
due honesty.
it's
And like
been-
I'm repeating myself. And if there is evidence, find us evidence that somebody
Simple
because
point
of
is
minority,
that
vote bank politics
you
are-
have been
I'm
you
still saying
are the sitting MLA. There has been, it's a family legacy, this area. That is the allegation made by the BJP. The responsibility comes from the elected representative,
They
the
can
municipal
only,
bodies
what
to
about the
ensure that there are no...
BJP's, what about the government's...
No, I'm
What
not,
about
sir, I'm not taking sides of any
my
political...
final statement I have to
there
go.
is no
Sir,
taking sides
sir.
of any political party.
No, sir.
Whoever is from the municipal corporation, whoever is the elected representative, whoever are the people who have looked the other way when these encroachments have happened, even including the railway authorities who have not raised this alarm in the past, they all should be held criminally culpable,
Right.
and they should be made to make available 30 acres of land to resettle these 4,000 families and let them pay for this and let them buy this land from the Uttarakhand state, wherever the state accords them. But it should not be at the cost of the taxpayer, and it should not be land that belongs to somebody else, because we in a country cannot afford to legitimize, ratify and patronize illegal encroachments and illegal occupations.
These people have been living there for over 100 years.
Sir, whether I live for 1 day or
Most
1
of
decade,
these
sir,
people
if
have
the
been
land
living for
doesn't belong to me,
100
the
to
land
70.
doesn't belong to me,
I'm
sir.
very sorry.
The area
I'm
doesn't
very
belong to
sorry.
me. There is no
It's just-
justification,
no,
because
no,
then
no.
tomorrow, sir,
I
people
disagree
will come as
completely.
10, 20
This is
people
so
and occupy
typical.
your land
I mean,
and
this
sit
is-
there and say that that belongs to me. They will
Neither
occupy
channels have
public
become so
parks. They will
stereotypical.
occupy
It
every
is
other
quite shameful.
every other
It's
place.
unbelievable.
I thank you. Let's see what the
See,
courts have to say.
humanity.
Somewhere the court should say those who looked the other way should pay for the land. These people should be resettled. There is a humanitarian issue, but don't make taxpayers and others pay for the mistakes of a select few. Make them pay for the land, let them buy 30 acres and resettle these 4,000 people and make that an example. Illegal encroachments cannot be justified, ladies and gentlemen. Do we want illegal encroachers to be emboldened to come in and usurp all that is public property, property that belongs to you and me as taxpayers of this country, not of any individual or any political party? Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Quickly, moving on to the next, straightforward. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, it's the Vande Bharat face-off, because now it's not just a stray incident. Is there an ulterior motive and a design? Who's behind it? And why pelt stones at Vikas is the question that we ask. Stay with us.
We are as a people. And I, so I don't want to say, and I don't know how much truth the Nidhi is saying, is owning up to, where her parents are concerned. So, just because she's scared to own up something, because she was part of it, she says, and I heard her correctly, that she learned of it the next day, but she saw what happened. But she also, she incriminates the men. She says she could have been saved. So she doesn't let the men get away.
No, fair enough. Look, those men are under arrest. They should, the strictest punishment that the law can afford should be meted out on them.
Why vilify another girl? Let's vilify the men.
Let's
talk about the lack of...
I agree with that. No one is trying to take away the focus from these brutes, these absolute brutes who, despite knowing that a body was stuck under their car, continued to drive on for a good 10 to 12 kilometers. I want to ask Dr. Anika Mehrotra of the Congress. The point is that over the course of this 2 hours, at 2:04 or 2:05, this accident happens. And then at 3:30, the first set of PCR calls happen. The police reach at 4:15. So a good 2 hours plus, this body was driven around in this stretch in Sultanpuri for 10 to 12 kilometers. The occupants of the car knew there was a dead body. They didn't bother to stop. The police, at least 3 PCR calls went out, and I'll play out. We have a bite of an eyewitness as well a little later on in the program. But at least 3 PCR calls went out, and the police only reached at 4:15, a good 2 hours and 15 minutes later.
So, because you see, I feel the tagline of the police, Nyay, Seva, Suraksha, I mean, it doesn't even befit them now. It's unfortunate with such kind of tagline. What kind of performance is this? So it has been happening in Delhi, and I've seen other reporters, sir, who've been to that area and have taken a recce of that area. They say that there are lampposts, but there are no lights in it. I mean, and there was they did that kind of the scene there, but they could not find any PCR after the event also, after the episode, after this ghastly act. So what I'm trying to say is that it's mere lip service. none of us are concerned of the fact that these things are happening in and around. So I think it's high time that we stop lip service. Nirbhaya case was enough for us to understand the gravity of the situation, sir. And now we are not bothered about what's happening in Nirbhaya Fund. What about fast track court? What are we doing with all this Mahila Ayog and stuff like that? So there's no fear at all of the law, and they know very well how to dilute it and find lacunas in it and scrape through without being even, getting any punishment.
Priyanka Kakkad, I think Dr. Mehrotra has a point. After Nirbhaya happened, there were a bunch of committees that sat, retired Supreme Court justices looked into it. J.S. Verma committee was there as well. And many of those recommendations that were made, including creating a distress signal service for women, a one-stop center for rape victims, woman police constable in every station, all female police stations. Tell our viewers, I mean, you've been in power for the last 8 years in Delhi. What have you done to change this? You had promised X number of street lamps across Delhi and 1.4 or 1.5 lakh CCTVs across Delhi. What has happened to all of that? Yes, the policing was appalling, no doubt about it. And I'll ask Mr. Kakkad about it. Sorry, Mr. Srivastava about it. But you please tell us about these other measures that were promised to be implemented after Nirbhaya.
Zaka, good evening to everyone. Zaka, I can go on and enlist that we have CCTV cameras which are higher, which are in excess of what Paris says. But I want to please not divert the issue, and this is completely a failure of investigation that you will see. Even you see how it was tried. They tried to dilute the issue. Initially, they came out with a 304A. We saw the condition of the dead body online. All of us saw it. A mere look at the pictures that surfaced. That was not a mere case of negligence. It could not be so. They tried to water it down by a 304A. And now I'm informed through media reports that they have perhaps added a 304. But then I also hear
দেশবিরোধী শক্তির হাতে বাংলা চলে যাচ্ছে ৪৭-এর আগে যেরকম হয়েছিল আবার সেই দিকে নিয়ে যাচ্ছে তার সম্পূর্ণ কৃতিত্ব টিএমসির মমতা ব্যানার্জি তাদেরকে সহযোগিতা করছেন কারণ কখনো পুলিশ এদের বিরুদ্ধে কোনো ব্যবস্থা নেয় না
It's very unfortunate and the miscreants will surely it's being investigated. There are CCTV cameras. I'm sure they are going to be caught. We should wait for the police and the railway police to find out who the miscreants are and do the remedial measures.
Simple question. You're getting a fast train which is going to improve connectivity within this train, and it is going to connect Howrah or Kolkata to North Bengal faster. It is a distance. Why would you want to pelt stone at us? Once it happens, one may think it's an accident. The second time it happens, you would wonder, you may want to dismiss it as coincidence, or you look at it and say there is a pattern. Why? Anything that would be done perhaps by the center will be disposed of, will be rubbished and will be damaged. This is national property. This is pride for all of us. Why do we forget that Kolkata was one of the first cities in the country to have a metro? So at that time, nobody pelted stones at it. Why pelt stones at Vande Bharat? Why pelt stones at Vikas? Is a question that comes to mind. And who would want to do this? Will this be just people standing on the streets who just random or by the railway track that they say new train, oh, I see a new train, let me just pelt stones at it? Is that how we are, and is that how Bengal people behave? Question. 2 days, once in Malda, once in New Jalpaiguri, there have been stones that have been pelted at the train that is undergoing test runs. Why this matters? Let's go straight across. Why does the Vande Bharat train matter? Vande Bharat matters because the travel time between Howrah and New Jalpaiguri will now be cut down by 3 whole hours. That is a lot of time, ladies and gentlemen. Also, it's a semi-high-speed train that will boost tourism in the state. People who would never travel to North Bengal will now consider it because half their day part is reduced. And there is also an appeal of travelling in a high-speed train, semi-high-speed train. The train will also bolster connectivity in North Bengal, and of course, it also reduces the one-day halt time in Siliguri. How critical is that? Time is money, time is progress, time is speed, and of course, time is tourism, ladies and gentlemen. The Vande Bharat train being vandalized, stones pelted at the train. The BJP is now fuming at the Mamata Banerjee-led government. They are demanding an NIA probe. The Trinamool Congress hits back at the BJP, and they have said that this is a well-planned script. So they are turning around and saying, "Aapke hi log hai jo patthar phek rahe," because you want to create a narrative about Modi versus Mamata. You want to push this narrative that Mamata Banerjee is trying to dispose or trying to cancel out everything that Modi government proposes. Let's dive into this face-off between the BJP and the Trinamool Congress and let them fight it out. And let's see who convinces us here on the debate. Stone pelting on Vande Bharat. Who is attacking Vikas is the question. Namaste, Priyanka Tibrawal of the BJP and Professor Manojit Mandal. It's a straight face-off between the lady and the gentleman. So let's try and keep it civil and allow each other to speak, make a point and a counter. I will speak as little as possible and I'll intervene when things go out of hand. Okay, Priyanka Tibrawal.
See, what I really believe is that these miscreants and the offenders who have done this or who are behind this are really not very unknown to the current government in West Bengal, because this is not the first time. We have seen that in the past similar incidents had taken place where national and government property was attacked by a special Lungi Vahini, but this government did not take any measures to stop them. Now, there is laxity which is visible in the working of this government, although there is complete accountability on behalf of this government. They are accountable to the people. But the question here rises that this is second time in the last 48 hours after the inauguration of this train. And is it not really imperative that the state government takes steps to find out as to who are these people behind these attacks? And why when some national property is destroyed, there is no action by the state government? Because this had happened in the past where railway tracks were ruined by these special people, but thereafter nothing happened. Now these people who are representing TMC, they every time run to Uttar Pradesh.
Let me before I take this to Manojit Mandal, let me ask you: do you have proof that these people are from the Trinamool Congress?
Sir, I said that they are not unknown and they should not be unknown, because it is the responsibility of the state government to ensure that there is no lawlessness in the state. Now, I question here, why is this government reluctant to catch hold of these people and find out? This has been 48 hours. 48 hours and
okay, so you are saying you do not know whether they are Trinamool Congress people or cadre who hate Narendra Modi or anything that Narendra Modi and the government of the centre propose.
Now see, on the very threshold it was visible.
Correct. But you are saying that there is a devious intent towards stone pelting of this train. This is Vande Bharat because it's being proposed. Now, Professor Manojit Mandal, I am going to ask you this question. Has there been an appeal from the Bengal government, Bengal Chief Minister, that projects like this should not be attacked or pelted? That's not happened. Secondly, do we know who these perpetrators are? Have the cops been able to catch the culprits? Has there been any marking or finding out who did this? Ji, go ahead please.
First of all, when it happened on Friday itself, we appealed to all the people not to target this train, and it was amply clear on our part that the party has nothing to do with it. If the BJP knows that they belong to some political dispensation, as it appears from my good friend, I ask her to please get hold of these people and hand it over to the police. They can only know these people when it's connected to them only, right? And let me tell you this, the kind of statement that their president made this evening, just 2 hours ago, in front of the governor house, saying that, why are you pelting stone at Vande Bharat? Pelt stone at the BDO offices. I'm quoting in English, Sukanta Majumdar briefing the press in front of the governor house. So this is there lies the problem. It is the BJP who have been continuously provoking people to do something like that. And we suspect when Mamta had lauded this project, she herself was personally present in Howrah station on that particular day. And you know that what happened to the Prime Minister, She was with the Prime Minister, expressed her solidarity, and she said that this is a gift to the people of Bengal, this one and the metro rail project,
Yes.
which was actually initiated by her.
Correct.
So from our side, we have nothing to do with this, because this is not the pride of one single person.
It is a pride for all of us, irrespective of which political ideology we are. It is a benefit for everybody.
For all of us. But Anand,
Ji.
you are absolutely right. This train has been attacked in other states also. We need to find out why. It has happened in Ahmedabad, UP, Gujarat. Why? And not just that, even while the train is colliding with the cattle, the kind of fragility that it has, it is coming out. It is getting.
See, now we are digressing.
Why we
See,
need to find out
technical issues.
Technology
No, any locomotive which is traveling at that speed, if it collides with anything, the damage will be on both sides. It will be severe. There is no doubt that you are a professor. You understand science. There is physics to it. But the other point is, one sec.
160 kilometers.
One sec.
Huge speed.
Yeah, it is. But that's the speed. If you want high speed rail, and if you are looking at high speed rail, that's what will come.
Bullet trains runs at a speed of 350 kilometers.
Correct,
per hour.
but you don't have when bullet trains run, you don't have anything else on the tracks. It's just the bullet trains. Now that is something which it's a collective responsibility. We can't say railway ki zimmedari hai, it is police. It's a collective responsibility. My other point is Priyanka ji, please respond to what the Trinamool Congress had to say. Manojit Mandal, don't exercise your throat too much. I know what it feels, how tough it is to try and get voice out when you are going through that kind of an attack of bronchitis. So let's try and yes, Priyanka ji, respond. The BJP, aapko pata hai to aap hawala kar do. What kind of comments is Mr. Sukant Majumdar making?
I've heard out my friend, and I'm saying that these pretentious statements made by him will not help or work out, because you see, he said that why doesn't BJP investigate? Oh sir, if BJP had to investigate, then what is your police minister, who's the chief minister herself, and what is your state police doing? Then allow the CBI to investigate in the matter. Let them come and investigate, but every time you will cry foul whenever you see CBI. So now I am saying that tell me that in the last 11 to 12 years, we have seen that the rule of law has perished in West Bengal. Now, who is supposed to be questioned? Is it not that the state police should answer? Tell me, I am asking him right here, right now, that when there was this Andolan by a certain class of people, I am not saying that they were known to TMC, these strangers or the offenders or the miscreants who did these kind of, destruction to the national property and to the railway tracks, how many of them were arrested? What was the action taken by the state government? It is not even 1.5 years. It was just before 2 years that we have seen and witnessed all this. But they do not do anything. Rather, we have seen a very obnoxious and arrogant behavior on the very threshold, on the day when this train was inaugurated, of the chief minister herself. We have witnessed her arrogance by not sharing the stage. Now Mr. Manojit Bandal is saying that, this was something which was done by Mamata Banerjee, and in the way it was done, entire nation witnessed that. That with what arrogance she stood there, she did not even step on the stage. So whatever be the reason, that is a different thing.
So you are saying that there is an ulterior political motive to this. Now earlier, when the first incident happened at Malda, the railways said that this has happened in other states, so it may be some miscreants who have done this. But when it happened for the second time at New Jalpaiguri, that's when they said that this seems to be a pattern and this seems to be planned. Manojit Mandal, respond to the BJP, and also what the railway authorities now are afraid of or worried about.
First of all, she was referring to the incidents after CAA protest. Anand, you and I know, and we have debated umpteen number of times. The maximum damages done to a particular state during that point of time was Assam. Everyone knows, because the whole issue started from Assam. How many people were arrested? And then again, after the Agnipath scheme, the entire stretch of North India was burning. What did they do? Haryana, during the time of that, what is the Jogi, Bhogi, whoever, when he was getting arrested, what happened during that point of time? The entire street was burning, your camera persons were getting injured. What did they do? It is the BJP, which is a political party which is born out of violence. Look at the history of the BJP's rise. Since 1992, since that Babri Masjid demolition, they rose to power through violence. Violence begets rise of BJP, it is historically proven, recorded in many dissertations done in India and outside India. We are very clear, whoever these miscreants are, they are hoodlums, goons and hooligans. They must not be spared. If the BJP is so confident they could identify the people, I'm simply saying they should help the police.
I'm also, see, one thing is, Manojit Mandal, people who live in glass houses must not throw stones at others. You know, using violence to rise and for the Trinamool to point fingers at another political party is a little rich. Please take it in the spirit. I know at that time it is struggle and it is Andolan, but any other party does it, then it is political. But the other part is, you are asking the BJP to identify when the state and the law and order and police is under your control. That's also a little ironic. But let Priyanka Tipperwal respond, please. Allow Priyanka Tipperwal to respond. Yeah.
I really see that Mr. Mandal is very impressed with the way things are handled in Uttar Pradesh, and I assure him, and I will like him to believe me when I say this, that once the government here of BJP is formed in West Bengal, we will ensure and take similar steps like the Yogi Sarkar takes in Uttar Pradesh if anything goes wrong, and does what they do with the miscreants, the same will be repeated here. Although here a single FIR is not registered by the TMC. Now he is talking about the history of violence. Look who's speaking. Look who's speaking. I do not need to show any candle to them, because when a national president of Bharatiya Janata Party is attacked, they say they do not know who has done it. When the Home Minister's convoy is attacked, they say they do not know who has done it. Every day the opposition is attacked.
So whenever that has happened, Home Minister's convoy,
people are burnt alive here, they do not know who has done it. People, their own ministers are sitting in the jail for this particular incident which happened in Baktui, where women and children were burnt alive. They say they do not know who has done it. So he is speaking of violence, although we have heard the NHRC say that it is not the rule of law, but the ruler's law which is prevailing in West Bengal. And he says that we should see violence elsewhere.
My simple point to the BJP and to the Trinamool Congress and to every single person in Bengal is that the Vande Bharat does not know and identify a passenger or a person by their political ideology or leaning. The objective of high-speed rail, the objective of improving connectivity is with the motive of vikas for everyone, for growth for everyone. My apologies, I've run out of time, Manojit ji. So the next 10 minutes, ye 10 seconds aapka udhar raha. Next time I'll add on to the next time you are. By then I hope you recover very well and very soon. Priyanka ji also, thank you very, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're shifting focus away from Bengal and turning it towards Jammu and Kashmir and what happened with Rajouri. There is a shadow of what happened in Rajouri and its indications. Now, we've been able to access some critical information which we'd like to put out, and it's a CNN News 18 exclusive, courtesy our investigations editor Manoj Gupta. This information that we've got here, very clearly the intel note says that there is a possibility and clear signs of revival of terror in the Chenab Valley. Now, there is a history to this, ladies and gentlemen. There is a plot to spark communal tensions in the Chenab Valley, where there is perhaps almost an equal number of Hindus and Muslims who reside there as residents of Jammu Kashmir in that region. Muslims have a very slim majority over Hindus in the Chenab Valley, in this entire region of Jammu. Chenab Valley was free of terror for nearly a decade, but in the past it's been a hotbed for recruitments by terrorists. Lashkar footprints have now been seen in the recent attacks in the Chenab Valley, although there are claims that this is a fresh group that has come on board. 4 blasts in Budhal in Rajouri district in March-April 2022. So there is a history. 5 soldiers were killed in a Fidain attack in August 2022. So see how it's building up. 2 civilians were killed near an army gate in Rajouri in December 2022, and then the selective force targeting where an infant killed and 7 people were hurt in a grenade attack on a BJP leader again back in 2021. So there is a history, clear spillover of terror from South Kashmir into the Chenab Valley, which is also happening. Now, let's try and understand the Rajouri killings and what we've accessed as far as the communal flashpoint. BJP's rise in Jammu has impacted communal ties in this entire region. Non-Muslims in Jammu have been drawn into the nationalist discourse and they're leaning towards the BJP, but there is a divide that's being sown. Jammu Muslims have been hurtled politically towards Kashmir. and also they are also being wooed by multiple parties. There is anti-Hindu violence in the Chenab Valley, which is fueled further divisive politics. So there are also local motives which will perhaps fan the flames. That's one critical aspect. Over 130 Hindus have been killed in communal violence in Chenab, in this region itself, between 1993 and 2006. Multiple massacres have happened here. Communal divisions have impacted rebooting of the village defense committees, and again these VDCs largely being dominated by Hindus is not something which has gone down very, very well. Now as we speak, and as I say namaste to SP Vaidji, who had flagged this out the last time we spoke, former Jammu and Kashmir DGP, and also Lieutenant General B.S. Jamwal, former Northern Army Commander, joining us. It's been after a brief hiatus. Happy 2023, General Saab. Good to have you with us. Happy 2023, Vaid Saab. But this is not a positive beginning. You are familiar, both of you gentlemen are familiar with this region. There is a history here. This has worked as a catchment area. Hindus have been targeted. Huge numbers have been killed. This is not largely talked about in the terror discourse much. But how do you see the signs? Do you believe that there is a deliberate attempt to sow seeds of divide? There are political entities who would have vested interests, but more importantly, the enemy is trying to create this or revive this theatre of action in terms of terrorism is concerned. B.S. Jamwal Saab, I'll come to you first, and then I'll come to you, SP Vaid Saab. So, yes, Jamwal Saab. B.S. Jaswalji, sorry.
Firstly, wish you a happy new year, Anand.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You made me a Jamwal.
No,
Jaswal.
my apologies, B.S. Jaswal.
Notwithstanding. Not at all, not at all.
Ji.
You see, firstly, I am very proud to be sitting with the ex-DGP Vaid, because he's the one who raised the VDCs in 1995 in Mahor district. He was the SP there. Now, coming to the main question. The raison d'etre of Pakistan has always been to keep the pot boiling, and they want to tell the world that J&K is a flashpoint and India should carry out various activities in accordance with UN. So they must show some activity. So the modus vivendi on their part now is to shift once again the arc south of Pir Panjal. Now, if you see this, they selectively, they first checked that these are Hindu houses, and then they targeted them. Aim is very clear, and we should not be surprised. They want to bring in a communal divide, but I think the society over there has become quite mature. They would not resort to this kind of a thing. But if in case some temple is attacked or Hindus are only killed, and resultantly something happens in Jammu, a mosque anywhere is attacked, so that will automatically flare up into a Hindu-Muslim divide, which is in sync with the modus vivendi of Pakistan. So this will continue, and I think the population itself, being the center of gravity, they are the ones who are going to give inputs about such like people if they want peace in this area.
The worry, sir, is that despite a cash reward being announced of 10 lakh rupees, there is not much information that's come to the fore. There is now an announcement that SLRs will be given to veterans or those who have served in the forces in these villages, in these regions. That's a decision that's just happened, development today. But Vaid Saab, how do you read the situation?
Anandji, situation is quite concerning. In fact, let me mention here, there was meeting held by ISI chief in somewhere around September 2021, and after that the targeted killing started happening in Kashmir Valley, and there is concerted effort as part of their program to again involve Jammu region, which has been largely free from terrorism in last about 15 years. In fact, virtually the terrorism was wiped out from this region. And the events you were mentioning, along with that, the effort has been seen from across to recycle and reactivate the surrendered terrorists, those who have been released from the terrorist cases after completing their tenure, their term, prison term, they are being activated. Sources are being activated, and you listed so many instances in Rajouri Poonch area, and also the erstwhile Doda district, now divided into 3 districts: Kishtwar, Doda, and Ramban. There is concerted effort to again activate terrorism. You saw 3-4 back how 4 Jash terrorists were intercepted near Jammu, Sidra. There was killing of 2 Jash terrorists when Prime Minister was scheduled to visit here in Sunjuma area. So incidents like this clearly indicate and how drones are being used to airdrop weapons and drugs in the LOC and the IB sector of Jammu. So basically, I see 2 or 3 motives of the establishment across. One, as General Saab was mentioning, General Jaswal, to create communal tensions between the 2 communities and take advantage out of that, because Pakistan has consistently in last 15 years failed to recruit and get Muslim youth from Jammu region. That is why they have failed as far as stepping up terrorism is concerned. So this is clear indication there. The incident of Rajouri was basically with the intention to inflict maximum casualties. That's why the IDs were also planted, and their intention was to have as many casualties as possible, so that there is a backlash from Hindu community and Muslims get involved. But they have failed in this. Let me mention here, most of the Muslim organizations in Rajouri, in Poonch, in Kishtwar, in Doda, Bhadarwah, Ramban, and even Kashmir Valley, they have condemned this action of terrorists and Pakistan's deep state. I think they will not succeed in dividing the 2 communities in Jammu region.
No, let's hope, and we should only look forward, because there hasn't been, like you said, that there hasn't been too much of traction or purchase for this. But even if a few move away, then that's a loss for us as Bharat. Yes, Vatsab, and then I'll go back to General Jaswal.
Another purpose which I see, which they are trying to drag, is by involving Jammu region. Because Jammu region is a huge spread and hilly area stretching from Poonch to Kishtwar. So that would mean spread of you would need a lot of deployment of security forces and paramilitary forces, which means taking out some of them from Kashmir. That is what.
Yeah, so that means you ease the grid in Kashmir to try and tighten the grid and spread it in Jammu. So there has to be some way. But my point is that there is this game called Go which is being played. That means that you don't try and fight in the existing battlefield, you create another one. So that's the whole Go theory that is doing the rounds, General Jaswal. Why is it that we are still reactive? Why is it that we are still watching the drones flying over us? We are still watching and waiting them, aane do phir marenge, aane do phir. Why are we not, asserting ourselves to take preemptive action so that they don't dare to do this again? Is that so difficult to do?
Anand, yes, I'll tell you. People should understand how exactly terrorism takes place. Let me tell you, in Srinagar town, and I'm sure DGP Vaid will also agree with me, even if there are 2 terrorists, there is so much of deployment of forces, they can create a problem. It's not that we are not having troop-to-ground density south of Pir Panjal. We have sufficient. But the initiative lies with the terrorists, with Pakistan. He will try nayab tariqe to infuse all kinds of terror tools into the region. So that's the reason we are not being reactive. We have to act against his initiative. In a way, it's reaction. But we have been able to succeed to bring down their drones, etc. Infiltration also. So even if in case these 2 terrorists who came out from the jungle at Dhangri and killed those people in these 3 houses, well, the surprise element is always there with the terrorists. I want to only focus on the intent part of it.
जी.
The intention is very clear, which has been dilated upon very clearly. And intelligence is one thing which can decimate the initiative. That's what I said. The population, they have to understand, if they want to live in peace, well, they should provide intelligence, they should support the security forces, otherwise they will also get engulfed. Any community. And let me also tell you, in this region, there are about 5 lakh, whatever the population of Jammu division is. Out of this, about 36% are Muslims. Rest are Sikhs and others. The Sikhs have played a very responsible role in this area in Jammu. All the traders, the truck traders, are Sikh people. They have not reacted to actions which are going on in the valley by stopping all the trucks. So every community has to balance out and understand the ramification. So that's the, I would say, panacea.
No,
otherwise,
I understand.
Things can go out.
I understand that all communities have to work. The other aspect is the lay of the land in Jammu is so spread out that and population is so sparse that there may be people or there may be avenues or areas where these people can hide out for days and create hideouts and catchments that they will escape even local intelligence or local people spotting them out. The other aspect is they seem to have practiced the art of being hybrid. So during the day they are working something, they are doing something, and then when they have to do operation they don the role of terrorists. My final I have to wind up, but I only have this thought, and I'm sure you can relate to those people who are acting on ground, that why can't we make the cost of a proxy war so dear that they don't even think about it? That's what we can teach the enemy a lesson, and somewhere we seem to not be able to do that effectively. SP Vaidji and General Jaswal, always a pleasure speaking with you, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time. Namaste and Jai Hind. With that, we wind up this edition of The Right Stand. Zakir ready with brass tacks.
Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zakir Jacob. The star witness of the police in the Anjali hit and drag case is Nidhi, and today there were serious questions being raised in her account of events. Remember, she came into the public eye only yesterday, 2 days after the crime. Her claim that Anjali was drunk, and overwhelmingly so, that has been debunked by the family basis the post-mortem report that was shared with them by the police. Even on the question of the timing of her reaching home, it seems to be suspect on the face of it because of the latest CCTV footage which says that she reached home at 1:37 when the accident happened at 2:05. The police are saying that that's because the DVR which recorded that footage was damaged. And most importantly, Anjali's family, in particular her mother, today who came out and said she had never heard of a friend named Nidhi. And the moot question, ladies and gentlemen, what sort of friend leaves someone to die dragged under a car? Why didn't she raise an alarm? Why didn't she go to the police? And even her claim of her phone being damaged, even that has been debunked today. But first, the story.
Delhi's hit-and-run case is getting murkier. A new CCTV footage has emerged which has given a stunning twist to the case. These visuals are from outside Nidhi's residence. The time on the CCTV footage shows 1:37 a.m. But according to the police, Anjali's accident took place between 2 and 3 a.m. Not only this, Nidhi claimed on Tuesday that her phone was broken after the accident.
मेरा उस दौरान फोन भी टूट गया था. फोन टूटने पर मैं बहुत होपलेस हो गई थी.
But in the CCTV, a purported phone can be seen in her hands. One of Nidhi's neighbors has even claimed that Nidhi had asked for a C-type phone charger at 2:30 a.m.
उसने मेरे से बोला निशान तेरे पास C-type चार्जर है, तो मैंने बोला हाँ मेरे पास हैगा. तो उन्होंने मेरे को अपना फोन दिया, मैंने चार्जिंग पे लगा दिया उसका फोन.
Anjali's autopsy report is also out. Anjali's family claims that alcohol traces were not found in her body and hence Nidhi's claims are baseless.
अल्कोहल पाया जाता तो इसमें लिखा होता कि केमिकल वहाँ पर जो है अल्कोहल मिला है. अगर उसमें स्टमक में वो ये कह रहे हैं सिर्फ फूड पार्टिकल मिला है, मतलब कि अल्कोहल कहीं से कहीं तक नहीं था.